take the lead of every step of me, even if you tell my feet to wait, 'cause where you are is where I wanna be. The depth of me is calling for the deep. I don't want it if you're not in it. I just want you.
Well, good morning, Lufkin Central and Online Worship Community. Jason Hollinger, the campus and community minister here. And for our time in Jesus and Coffee, we are wrapping up our three-chapter series on the Sermon on the Mount, the I Just Want You, a Sermon on the Mount series. And today we're talking about the wise and foolish builders, the wise and foolish builders. So we'll read a little, share a few thoughts, issue the challenge as we do, and send you on your way with a cup of coffee, hopefully, and into the beginning of a new week. So hear the word of the Lord, Matthew chapter 7, starting in verse 24, and again we'll go through the end of the chapter, verse 29. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. And yet it did not fall because it had its foundation on the rock. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house, and it fell with a great crash. When Jesus had finished saying all these things, the crowds were amazed at his teaching, because he taught as one who had authority, and not as their teachers of the law. You know, right off the bat, we see, as what I love, the words of one commentator tells us that it's not enough to simply hear Jesus's call or even respond with some temporary flurry of good deeds. It says this: rather, we must build a solid foundation that combines authentic commitment to Christ with persevering obedience. And I love that. Just we must build a solid foundation that combines authentic commitment to Christ with persevering obedience. Just like we talked about back up in verse 7 of this chapter, 7 through 12, the ask, seek, and knock, how we talked about it's really this idea of where we keep asking, where we keep seeking, and we keep knocking. Just as we think about this, as Jesus wraps these words up, that word it says when Jesus had finished. That's from the word teleo, which suggests this sense of fulfillment. And not surprisingly, the crowd, they kind of they just marvel at Jesus' teaching, and contrast it with that of the scribes, which says a lot about the scribes, the teachers of the law. It says he spoke with one of his authority, not as the teachers of the law do. So no matter what, the crowd is saying something about the teachers of the law as well, right there. And I'll leave that to you to kind of determine that. You know, the preaching, the words spoken, the call that's given, the more you see, the more you see, not just in that moment when those words are spoken, but when you see how they continue to live out after that moment, it says a lot. And it goes a long way to determine whether we're looking at wise or foolish builders. whether we're looking at those that are about building something, or they're about just in that moment of gaining the attention of those around them, or if they're about you know asserting your power over someone else, as in other occasions it says, Jesus says, do not lord your authority over others, as as the scribes, the teachers of the law, they all do. It's not about saying, I'm in charge, you're not, I'm the one speaking down to you. It's about building a foundation that when the storms of life come, they're able to withstand. It's about building a foundation that when moments come and we're not exactly sure how to respond, that everything that we have done to that moment allows us to respond in such a way that makes a difference. Tomorrow at one point in time was just known as December 7th. But there came a moment just like, September 10th. There came a moment that next day we were changed forever. Because whether it's the literal storms of life or the figurative storms of life, there are going to be moments that come that we're given an opportunity to respond. And when we build on a foundation, we're going to talk more about the meaning of tomorrow. When we build on a foundation, a strong, solid foundation, when those storms of life come, I'm not saying we will perfectly weather them, but we have a better chance of not just surviving, but thriving. So here's my challenge to you today as we wrap up this Sermon on the Mount series. I want to encourage you to go back, spend some time reading, going through, looking at what these words meant to those, to that audience at that time, and what they can mean to you today, and what it can mean to those who experience you living them out. So go back and reread Sermon on the Mount. Give it some time. Read it a couple of times today. Listen to it, read it, allow it to change your life from the inside out. Can't wait to hear and see how it goes. Y'all have a great day. God bless.
Just want you, God. Whisper to me secrets of your heart, 'cause I want to discover all you are. I'm leaning into heaven for a glimpse, and I will partner with your presence here again. I don't want it if you're not in it. I just want you. I don't want it if you're not in it. I just want you. Your heart, your ways, show me your face, your song, and your voice break be my everything. All that I dream, lay it at your feet. All that I am, falling on my knees. I surrender, I surrender. All that I see, be my everything. All that I dream, lay it at your feet. All that I am, falling on my knees. I surrender, I surrender. I don't want it if you're not in it. I just want you. I don't want it if you're not in it. I just want you. Just want you. Just want you.